Hi everyone, I'm back today to talk about something that you might not necessarily think of when you think about being a writer. So, if you know anything about me or if I've shared this, I record these videos kind of on the fly. I'm a one take kind of gal. I don't love a lot of editing, and that's why you see mistakes, and that's totally okay. I record these the way that I ask you to try to record your first draft. Today's topic is something that I'm super passionate about. So I'm going to try not to go too long with it, but I really want to share this with you and dive in. And you may, in fact, see me share more about this in the coming weeks and months as I get closer and closer to this. Let me just drop this right here. This is what I think the whole point of writing and storytelling is. So here it goes. What is the transformation that writers go through when they write? You know, usually as a writer, you're thinking about what transformation is taking place for your character, right? Even if you're writing memoir or a narrative nonfiction, you may be thinking of your younger self or somebody else in terms of character. And so you've distanced yourself a little bit. But in fact, and this is like House of Mirrors kind of magic, this is why I do what I do. Even when you are writing about somebody else or a totally fictional character, you, as the writer, go through a totally separate transformation than the character you're writing about. Let me just try to put that into context. You are traveling on a journey. So, for example, one thing as a story geek that I will say all the time is that we live story. You will see it everywhere. You will see it in nature. You will certainly see it, obviously, in movies and books and television shows. You will see it in the playground at the park if you've got kids. You will see it amongst your family. You will see it in science experiments. You will see this everywhere. Maybe inanimate objects are sort of saved from it, but I'm not even convinced. This is so true to me and lots of other people. You can find this in physics, right? So story is everywhere all the time. And that means that even as you are writing a transformation of a character, whether that be you at a younger age or somebody totally fictional, you yourself will be going through a transformation. And part of what I love to do is walk writers through that process where they're not only serving their story and making sure that they're hitting all the points that a reader really needs, but more specifically, and especially in this first draft, this is why I say sometimes you have to write what you have to write, and it will never end up in the final story, in the final draft. Never. But you had to write it for some reason. You had to get it out. Because at each point of the story, whether it's the opening scene, the inciting incident, the denial, the battle, and then finally, I've seen this over and over again, and it's what I live for. When a writer is going through their story, now maybe they finished their first draft. We never know when the true transformation is going to take place, right? I never know where about 3/4 of the way through the story the writer is. I know with what they've written, but I don't know internally. I just watch. And there is a time at which all of the learnings, all of the battling, especially the internal, both the mind and the heart, battling has been happening. And writing really brings this out. Whether we're dealing with an issue that's separate from the writing, right, with our family or with our partner or with friends or whatever it may be, something drops from here to here. It goes from, oh, I know that to, oh, I feel that. something shifted. Now, part of what I do is try to help the writer bring as much of that real transformation into the transformation that their character is going through. Even if their character is going through a totally different, sci-fi fantasy, although that's not necessarily what I deal with. No matter what their character is going through, their protagonist is going through, I want them to bring that emotion. So here's my ultimate message. We live in perpetual transformation. We are living multiple stories at any given time. Some of them we spend years or decades in the messy middle, and maybe we'll never fully resolve it before we pass. But that's okay. There are lots and lots of mini transformations that we're going through. But what I want to pass to you today is to maybe just start to notice what sort of transformation is happening for you. And if you're in the middle of story and you're really struggling with what to write on the page or on the computer screen, whatever it may be, I want you just to look inside and say, what part of my story as the writer am I in right now? Because I almost can guarantee that it's because you are at some point in the messy middle where you are battling that 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and you're not quite ready to go to that next place. You haven't quite dropped from here down to here. Just get real with yourself. Give yourself some grace and let it happen. When we try to force something, that's when resistance pushes back even further. So you can't get there just because you want to. You have heard me say it before. The quickest way to resolution is surrender, but you cannot fake it. You can't fake it, nor can your characters. And I guarantee if you're resisting it, they'll be resisting it as well. So I know that might be a little bit woo for some of you, but I have to tell you that it's actually extremely practical because it's just the way that things work. Writing is transformation, both for your character and for you. If you've got any questions about this or you want to start to have a bit of a dialogue, I love it. So send me an email to anjanette@storyaslife.com. Check out my website, storyaslife.com. I've got the 30-minute free writer's block, breaking through writer's block masterclass that you can sign up for there. And I would just love to hear what you think about this concept of being in transformation as the writer, as you are writing a character's transformation as well. Until next time, you have a story to tell, and it's time to tell it. I'll catch you next time.